Now, you have written a book called The Sex Myth, The Gap Between Our Fantasies and Reality, which I think is so interesting because I feel like we all grow up with this idea of how things are supposed to look, and then you go, hold up, what the...
Yeah, that's what happened to me, and that's why I wrote the book. I was a big fan of, TV, sitcoms, teen shows,
Disney.
Disney. Disney shows up in my book. It's a perpetuator of the sex myth, believe it or not.
Right. Oh, really?
Yeah.
The main one, do you think?
Maybe not the main one, but it's like the early childhood version of it, because of the fact that in Disney films, even if you're watching, say, The Lion King or Aladdin or The Little Mermaid, it's the love story, and they have like the twinkling stars in the background and the soaring music, and
Sebastian singing.
That's the
There's that
important
fun
relationship.
crab in the background singing a tune.
I was listening to the part of my world last night, and I'm not kidding. I found The Little Mermaid on Spotify.
It did. It came on in Stacey's car the other day.
It's still a big... Well, you still like the music, but I get it. Like, it really messes with your head.
I get, so there's lots of different bits and pieces, I suppose, to this whole book and what the sex myth is. But I guess part of that is the fact that people aren't actually having as much sex as you would actually think inside and outside of relationships.
Yeah, that's right. And obviously that's not something that Disney is responsible for perpetuating.
No, that's for sure. You're off the hook with this one, Walt
separate
Disney.
part of Disney. But that was another part of my motivation for writing it. When I first started thinking about the ideas in the book, when I was in my mid-20s, in Australia, there's this whole kind of panic around young people having more sex than ever before, and it's this terrible thing, apparently. And it wasn't my life, so I felt terrible about that. And it was a great relief to find out that many other 20-something single folks were in the same boat.
Yeah, because you're kind of defined of that in a relationship or out of it. And I know that when I became single, I was like, oh, if I'm not having all this kind of casual sex, then I must be doing it wrong.
Yeah.
And I wasn't really into it with the no feelings thing.
Yeah, exactly. And even people who are into it aren't necessarily doing it every weekend. In fact, in all likelihood, they're probably not.
Yeah, and I love Sex and the City, so there's another one. Yeah. God damn it. It did good things, but I can see the kind of tough things that stuck into your head too.
Yeah, exactly.
But then, Rachel, off the back of that, I suppose, when you look at relationships, I suppose you can use that as a bit of a gauge, which you talk about, how much sex you're having with your partner or within your relationship. And I suppose the more sex equals the better the relationship.
Absolutely, because we're told that firstly, sexual relationships are the most important, which is a Disney bit, but that within those relationships, sex is how you measure how intimate your relationship is.
Okay, right. Well, so even the kind of sex. So
Yeah,
if you're
absolutely.
kind of having experimental sex, it means you're healthier or you're kind of right in there.
You've probably got a better relationship. I mean, I'm being sarcastic.
Yeah.
But also, penetrative sex is considered real sex, more so than, say, oral sex or manual sex or other types, if you're counting how often a week you do it.
What's manual sex? Is that DIY?
Hand jobs. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right.
And lady hand jobs, as I like
Yeah,
to call them.
right. Lady hand
I've never heard it referred to like that before.
Wow, hello.
Do you have a better name for it?
Fingering.
Fingering. There you go.
I would say that would be the technical term, wouldn't it? I don't know if there's anything more technical than that.
I'm glad I didn't ask my parents to tune into the show.
But you're glad to be here, right?
Yeah, that's for sure.
A question that before we let you go, Rachel, that I've got for you, I guess about the feminist, the thing in our generation, and when I say our generation, I mean Gen Y, that a lot of my girlfriends who would be independent obviously want equality, but wouldn't feel comfy with calling themselves feminists. Now, I know the issue as to why we've come here, but what do you reckon the way is moving forward to kind of open that up?
Well, I think it's about making feminism relevant to people. So I don't really care if people call themselves feminists or not, even though I'm one. What I just hope is that people are thinking critically about what's happening in their lives. So thinking critically about what you're told you should be because you're a woman or because you're a man.
So back to this kind of reality versus dream scenario.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what feminism is to me.
Yeah, right. That's good. You're very concise in all of your explanations. It's really quite things that sometimes I think seem quite complex to people. You have a bit of a knack of making it seem not simple, but you know what I mean, like very easy
understandable.
to understand.
Yeah,
Thank
for sure.
you.
Yeah.
Something that we've got to work on. Using less words to get around and saying the same shit.